Sure. Okay, so thank you so much for coming tonight. I am going to start by sharing my screen. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Padlet, which is one of the technology tools that we use at Morse Pond. Um, get myself set up here. Oh. So at the beginning of the school year, when we found out that all of this technology was going to be integrated into our teaching so that we could best teach our remote learners and our in-person learners, and then our in-person learners who were hybrid and also remote sometimes, we learned about all these great tools, and Padlet was one of them. I know that all of the teachers are kind of using the tools as they go and getting to know them a little bit more as the school year is progressing. And since we're, ending November here and entering into December tomorrow, I would definitely say that some teachers are using some of these technology tools more than others, but to varying degrees. So where some teachers may be using Padlet quite a bit, other teachers might be using some other tools that they're finding are really useful in their own classroom. So I am Stephanie Szymanski, and I teach sixth grade at Morse Pond. I teach ELA and social studies, and I'm going to give you just a quick overview. So what is Padlet? Padlet is kind of like a bulletin board for kids and teachers to interact with each other. And it's a good way for everyone to collaborate with one another. It's a great way for during lessons to find out what kids know and where they are. It's also a great way after lessons to see what students picked up and what they might need to have a little bit more reinforcement on. There are so many different uses for Padlet. I'm going to show you a couple of examples in just a minute, but there are so many different ways that it can be used in the classroom. It's a great tool that I think teachers are kind of peeling back the layers right now to figure out the best uses in the classroom. So the best aspect of Padlet I find is that kids can interact with one another without having to physically be in the same space, which I think is the most important thing during this time. Um, this is an example of how Karen Carson, my partner teacher, and I used Padlet on the very first day of school. So as you can see here, the Padlet was created with different columns, and we were asking kids how they were feeling about their first day of school. And so every student could come in and they could choose their feeling. And by clicking the little plus sign under each column, they could give us some more information about how they were feeling, why they were feeling that way. It really helped us to connect with our students right on that very first day. It's a safe space because students can share what they want to. They don't have to tell us anything they don't want to tell us, but give us enough information, even if it's just really short and sweet. And then as a teacher, this is very useful because I can look through and see all of the students' responses really quickly. Um, I took all the names off of this Padlet, of course, but one of the features of Padlet is that when I sign in, the students can see that, this is a Padlet that belongs to me, and they can also sign in and their names can show up here on each of the posts. They can also comment to one another. So let's say this were an activity where we were asking for someone to give another classmate some feedback, then they could comment on each individual post and leave a message for another classmate. But just for this purpose, this was more for us as teachers to get to know the kids a little. Another use of Padlet, this is the VIPS Fit and Fun Challenge they're doing right now. And so I don't know if you're involved in that at all, but Draw Day told me that I could share this just to kind of show what's being done across the district a little bit with Padlet. But they used each of the columns as one of our schools. And then the families can post the pictures and a little blurb, a quick little short explanation of what their child is doing to participate in the challenge. And so as you can see, it makes you feel good just to see the pictures. You feel a connection already, and you can tell that this is something that kids are having fun doing. You can also understand that this would lead to maybe some feedback if it were happening in the classroom, collaboration, where some students might say, hey, didn't think about hopscotch, let me try that tomorrow. Or, oh, wasn't thinking about, doing jumping jacks, that's really quick, I'm going to try that the next day. So using a Padlet is just a really great way for people to feed off of one another as well, get ideas from each other to use themselves. So VIPs, great idea. This is a great idea for them to use a Padlet for people to share across the community what they're doing. So how do students access Padlet? The teacher can share a link to a Padlet. The Padlet is completely private, so no one else will see responses or comments besides anyone who has that exact link. You can make a Padlet public. I'm not sure of a use for that in a school environment, but overall it can be public. I will share in just a moment some of the ways that we've used Padlet this year. And one of them is getting parent feedback and hearing from parents. So in a situation like that, we would just share the link with parents as well. But if we wanted to make it public for other access, we would have that capability. It's just not something that we typically do or would have any reason to do to make it completely public. The teacher can also share a QR code. We don't have iPads at Morse Pond. I'm not sure. I know other schools may have them, but the QR reader can be accessed through the Chromebooks. I know it's easier for us because we have Google Classroom to share this right through a link, right through the Google Classroom. As you can see here, this is a piece of one of my playlists, and down here at the bottom, one of the choices that students have is to make a book recommendation to other students by using the Padlet link that we have. So really quick and easy. They click on the link, they're there, and they can easily add on to the Padlet. Again, we can use this for so many different reasons. They're a warm-up activity, brainstorming during a lesson for students to have a place to collaborate and feed off of each other. Evidence of learning, a Padlet could be graded. Teachers can assign points to the posts if they want to. And you can also have students kind of give each other a thumbs up or a thumbs down, which again, there are certain uses for that and certain times that we probably would not use a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but it just shows that there are so many different ways that it can be used within the classroom, depending on what your purpose is. And then sharing ideas about a topic, which you'll see in a couple minutes, just how all of these are used. So I'm just going to get out and show you before I move on. This is a Padlet of Padlets that I made. I know, very creative. You can make a Padlet with everything. So when I say that, kids can share documents on a Padlet. They can share images on a Padlet. It could just be their ideas. But if we go through here, some ideas are book recommendations. So after they've read a book, they can leave some information to get another kid excited about what they've been reading. You can put out a Padlet that just asks kids how they're feeling, get a pulse on how your class is doing. In ELA class, we were reading a biography, and at the end of the biography, instead of doing a 10-question quiz, what did you learn? Basically, we shared a Padlet here that was just, I'll show you, what's one interesting fact that you learned about this person? And so the students could add something. It could have been the same as what someone else thought was interesting, could have been something completely different. And again, for something like this, I would let them comment on each other's. Oh, that is really interesting. I did notice that, and this is what I thought of it. So I really enjoyed this activity. Kids can collaborate about a certain topic. So when we were talking about different genres of reading, each student or group of students in the class, I think I did this in pairs or partners, they had a different genre of literature. And so they read about their individual genre and taught the rest of the class through the Padlet about what they read. And because one of their goals this year is to read across all of the genres, this was a great way and a great resource for them to have to be able to look back on if now they're looking for a realistic fiction book or they're looking for a fantasy book. This is now also a resource for them. Just a couple more, show what you know, mapping things out. This is a really cool use for Padlet. I haven't used yet, but I'm really looking forward to. If your child is in 6th grade, they are reading No Summit Out of Sight right now, and we're looking forward to using this Padlet for No Summit Out of Sight to map out where Jordan has gone in the world. And so as you can see, this one was just where are the tallest buildings in the world. And so the students can actually choose any place and they can add in a fact about any place in the world. And it is so user-friendly and easy. There's usually a little plus sign down here in the bottom. They can type in any place in the world and Google Maps will find that place, put a marker there for them, and they just type in what they want to and it does the rest. So this is a really cool application that teachers could also use. Creating a timeline, very interactive, straight across, what happened in what order, adding images. And one of my favorites, and I will say that I got this idea from Mrs. LaBeouf at North Falmouth because that's where my daughter goes to school right now. She is in her class, and this is an idea for a compliment board. So Mrs. LaBeouf actually made a board for my daughter for her birthday. And so when Sadie went into school, she had all of these great comments from all of her friends, and they just posted nice things and said happy birthday to her and put little funny images. It was just a really great way for the kids to connect in an environment right now that's really, it's really hard to find that connection across remote students, in-person students, and the hybrid, the two groups of cohorts as well. And then of course, down here, I have exit tickets, which every teacher loves a good exit ticket. What did you learn today? Tell me about it. That way we can assess what the students already know and figure out what we need to reteach. So this is my Padlet of Padlets. I look forward to actually sharing this with all of the teachers because it was fun for me to do a little bit more research on Padlet since I knew I was going to be doing this today. And I am on to my last slide. So this was one idea that I had for you to be able to check out how easy it is to use Padlet. So I don't know if you have access to a QR reader, if you have a phone on you where you can scan the QR code, or if you go to this web address, which I can copy and paste and put right into the chat for you. As you can see, when things don't go my way, I just keep going. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste, and let me see if I can find my little chat icon while I am still sharing. So if you are interested in trying it out, and you certainly don't need to, but if you would like to, if you just click on the link, and it's completely anonymous, so this one isn't going to attribute your post to a name, but you can go on and click on the plus sign and add a title if you want to, add whatever your content is, and then you can just click out of the box and that will save whatever progress you have. So this is the actual Padlet that if you'd like to try it out and add to it yourself, I put some columns in there just to give a little idea of maybe what you might want to respond to. But it's really just as easy as clicking one of these plus signs and typing in whatever information you want. What is really cool as well is that you can see that in real time, what kids are typing pops up right away. So when we are teaching, and this is on the large clear touch screen in the front of the classroom, if I have my computer hooked up there to the clear touch, the kids can actually see the ideas being added as they're coming in. And it's a great motivation tool for maybe some students who are a little slow to get started. It's just a great way to influence them to jump in, right? So thank you for trying. Thank you for coming on to the Padlet and giving it a try. That is really just my whole Padlet presentation here. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight. And do you have any questions? If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. But it's really great getting to share some of the awesome things that we can do in the classroom to try to foster a little bit of collaboration between the students themselves and between the teachers and the students to build relationships, but to also find some good tools that help us all to learn better and learn in a better environment. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know, and you're my only student tonight. It's amazing to have a one-on-one learning experience. I'm sure.
Padlet tutorial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for coming. And yeah, if you have any questions in the future, you can just email me or let me know.
Okay.
And I'm sure, you know, Mrs. Zano and Mrs. Brennan are using Padlet as well,
Right.
because the 6th grade teachers, we all try to plan as much together as we can. So
Right.
we give each other ideas, and we are really trying to make a very consistent learning plan across all of the 6th grade. And I know the 5th grade teachers are doing the same as well. So
Nice. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's very different hearing about it versus seeing it from this perspective. So thank you. This is really helpful.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We always try to tell the kids, like, this is we're gonna do something fun today, right? And then their perspective of what's fun and our perspective of what's fun are two different things. But you know,
Yes,
we
they're
always
really
enjoy when we can put a fun background and, you know, give them a prompt that makes them think. I mean, that's fun for us. So
yeah.
hopefully they're enjoying it a little bit too.
Yeah, yeah, they're really developing independence too, which is neat to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we want. So any
Yeah.
tool that can help us with that, as far as technology is concerned, is definitely
Right.
welcome. Yeah.
Right.
Thank
Well,
you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.